This is a HeadGum podcast.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to A Funny Feeling Podcast. I'm Betsy Sidaro.
And I'm Marcy Jarrow. This is a podcast where comedians tell us their paranormal experiences, and we listen to yours as well.
Oh, yeah. And if you have one of these paranormal experiences that you want to share with us, please email it to us at funnyfeelingpod@gmail.com.
Now get cozy.
And prepare yourself to be scared silly.
This is a Funny Feeling podcast.
I'm so excited.
Okay. All right, Betsy. We already said it. We're excited.
We're excited. Just from already just one sentence of I spent Halloween at the Conjuring house.
Oh,
I'm
she's
so
spoiling
excited.
stuff. She's spoiling stuff. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, big spoiler alert.
Also, it is very exciting when we have someone new to us on the podcast.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and this is a legitimate person here, not one of our bullshit friends that we normally have. So
yeah, those bullshitters.
fucking
We're
idiots.
I think I saw a ghost.
Like,
And we're
shut
I
up,
don't know,
get
man.
out of here. So we're not going to vamp too much, but this person is a paranormal researcher for 30 plus years. They have done so much other cool shit. Welcome to the podcast, John Tenney.
Hello, how you doing?
Yes.
John, thank you so much for being on.
I don't know if calling me legitimate is really good. I do some pretty crazy stuff.
Well, look, a lot of things have been invented and figured out by doing crazy shit. Like penicillin, man, that's fucked up. A rotten orange, please, come on.
Come on.
Yeah. Which wasn't there something discovered by milking cows? Wasn't that the smallpox vaccine?
Oh,
it
it's
was milking cows.
I was like, milk. Milk was discovered by milking cows.
Hey, what if we pull on this thing? What do we get? Real smallpox? Oh man.
I think that's how they figured out the vaccine for smallpox, was the farmers weren't getting it. It was because of something in milk.
They're like, yeah. We're just milking the cows. You're like, well, you're doing something else weird. Tell us about it.
Tell us the truth.
So, John, tell us. You said you've done a bunch of other cool shit, but you have a podcast. You're doing a bunch of stuff. You do lecture series. Tell us and our listeners just all the fun stuff they can find you on.
Yeah, so currently I do a podcast called What's Up Weirdo, which started during quarantine, and it's just me and my best friend Jessica, and we yell at each other on the phone.
Yes. Good.
So it's not edited, it's just two friends yelling at each other, and it's the perfect thing to put on in the background, when you're feeling lonely. Then you can feel like you're listening to people at the bar argue with each other.
I love that.
Yes, that's what I miss when I'm lonely. I'm like, I need to hear some friends just arguing about stuff.
But yeah, so paranormal stuff. I started as a Kennedy assassinologist in the 1980s.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, so political assassinations of the 1960s and 70s. RFK, MLK, JFK, Malcolm X, the Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton, all the way up to Kent State. And then one of my mentors was Jack Kevorkian. He lived in Royal Oak. And so we would hang out at the library and he would get me interested in other spooky stuff. And then when I was going to college in the early 90s, a friend of mine said, do you want to drop out of college and research for the show Unsolved Mysteries? So,
Oh my God. Yes. I would drop out. I would drop anything to research for that. I got chills when you said that. What?
yeah, so I dropped out of college and worked on Unsolved. And then that was my first kind of foray into researching paranormal and strange phenomena.
Wow. When you started it at Unsolved Mysteries, were you kind of just whatever, man? Or did you always were you always I think I believe in this stuff? Or do you? Or are you even I don't know if it exists. I'm trying to find out if it does.
Just making a career out of something I'm not sure about.
Yeah, it's weird because one of the hardest things I have to do as a researcher is I can't fully believe in stuff, but I can't not also completely disbelieve in everything. I have to walk this really weird line of saying, this is all the weird shit that's ever happened to me, but I don't know what reality is, and I don't know how my brain understands reality.
Right.
So that's the most difficult part.
Whoa.
And then
Yeah.
knowing people like Jack, and like I met my first witch, her name was Gundella, when I was like 14. So like I always had an interest in this stuff.
Yes.
And the opportunity to work, when I started working at Unsolved was basically just like a murder mysteries and missing people.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought a group of us in, like a group of weirdos. And all of a sudden all of a sudden in the early 90s, it becomes ghost stories and UFOs and alien abductions. And that was all us.
Yes.
I feel like
It messed me up as a kid for sure.
I was going to say, I think that formed a lot of who Betsy and I are, is watching
Yes.
Unsolved Mysteries with my dad,
Yes.
Yeah, like just being like, that's how I got such an interest in this. And obviously, if my dad was watching it, I probably would have had an interest anyway. But
Right.
how cool. I also am like fascinated by Jack Kevorkian too. Like I don't want you to speak for him if you don't want to, but like what was his belief in the afterlife?
He was 100% like, once you're dead, you're dead. There's no ghosts.
Okay.
He was he was a doctor, so he was a
Yeah.
complete humanist. Like, this is your one life. You should take your best shot at it. Create as much happiness as possible. The least amount of suffering, obviously, possible.
Yeah.
But once you die, you're dead. That was his belief.
Wow.
With Jack was a really, obviously a very interesting dude. I was working one of my first jobs. I was working at this. I was a punk rock kid in the '80s, so I was working at this BDSM record store in my hometown. And Jack came in one day and wanted to speak to the owner, and then after he left, the owner came to me and was like, Jack just asked if he could use the electrical outlet in our alleyway to plug in a car and kill someone. And I was like, what? And the owner was like, yeah, I told him to go down to Belle Isle in Detroit because they have RV plugs for the RVs. And like 3 days later, Jack performed his first assisted suicide.
Yeah. That's for anyone who is listening and doesn't know Jack Kevorkian. He was he became like very famous in the 90s, right? That would, I with trying to further, I don't know how you would say it, but like he was trying to like help people like and fight laws against assisted suicide, right?
Yeah, for sure. He was very much for like death rights. Mm-hmm. The fact that if you're in a situation where there is no practical way out and all the rest of your life is nothing going to be is suffering and there's no cure for it, you should have, as a human being, you should have the right to end your life in your own style and in a manner of dignity. And
Right.
which is obviously super controversial.
Of course. Oh,
It is very interesting though when you start thinking with a pro-choice mind about it. You're like, well, no one should have to do like, I don't know, like obviously there should be like, like doctors should help you and stuff, and people shouldn't just be doing it on their own. But like, especially when you see people suffer, we're at that age now where we know so many, like you hit an age in your life where like, okay, now death is going to be a part of your monthly routine, that you're going to know people who die. And see people go through grief. And I don't know, I just think there would be something nice about being like, we know the day it's going to happen, so we can get everyone here, everyone can be around, we can say goodbye.
right.
Like there'd be
I
something,
didn't even think of that.
something very beautiful about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and where we've gotten to since Jack was doing that in the 80s and 90s, well, whether or not, again, it's controversial because it's true, but like hospice has really kind of moved into that area where here are the pain-killing drugs, don't administer these two together because, and then they leave you alone with the patients and the drugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or I think some nurses will even say like, we could give more morphine to make them more comfortable. And then they kind of like, that is sort of their code for, this is like the beginning of the end if you want to come in and say goodbye. And it, I don't know, like I've had friends go through it recently and it's like, yeah, it makes perfect sense to like help ease on over to the other side. But
yeah, I went through it 2 years. I moved my mom in with me 2 years ago because she was really declining in Alzheimer's and had a bunch of medical diseases and stuff. But on top of it, like it is one of those things. Like, would you rather like have someone be in the hospital surrounded by doctors they don't know, or like she's in the house of her son who loves her and surrounded by her family?
Yeah.
Like, what a gift to be able to leave this world surrounded by the people who love you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I've thought about it recently. Like, we have like due dates for births, and it's like, it'd be so nice if we could just get the death date, even an approximation of like 10 days before or after it's going to be around this time. Like, that would be so nice for people to be able to like, yes, I'm going to go say goodbye. I won't be taken by surprise.
Right.
And in the meantime, I am wondering, I just thought this while you were talking, like so much has happened on Zoom. Has anybody died during a Zoom meeting?
I bet, right?
Oh, I bet many people have died during a Zoom. If you've died during a Zoom,
Let us know.
know.
You're like, oh man, Gary froze again. His lousy internet, dude.
And they're laughing at what a weird face. Oh no.
Oh no.
I mean, we kind of already started this, but let's get into the full I don't know why I can't talk at 11 a.m. guys, but let's talk about like, what do you believe about the paranormal? Like, what are the things that even as you question, you're sort of like, I lean towards this being something I do believe is out there.
I mean, I think the universe has only ever shown me, like, my factual reality is that the universe is fucked up and weird. Can I swear? Is that all right?
Oh,
yes.
yeah, please.
Please,
We love it.
Please swear as much as possible.
like it makes planets and monkeys and octopus and also suns, and like it does all sorts of weird shit that nobody really understands. I mean, we've made up a bunch of laws of the universe, but I don't really know if the universe is following what we think are laws. So for me, everything is on the table. Like, Bigfoot might be a ghost, might also be a big ape, might also be an extraterrestrial, might also be a ghost of a caveman. Ghosts might be, I mean, if aliens are existing and they die, maybe there's alien ghosts. Like, I'm like,
that just blew my mind.
You really got me. You got me good.
so like everything and everything and anything weird is on the table.
Wow. That really just blew my mind. Like, alien ghosts.
Yeah. So like, and they wouldn't need ships to travel here. They would just be spirit form, right? So like, you might think you're talking to your grandmother, but in reality, like, you're talking to an alien ghost. That's like just saying it's your grandma so it can talk to you.
Yeah, sure, I'm your grandma.
Wow.
Wow.
And I bet because of your career, you've heard everything, I'm sure. Like, you probably, like you hear the stories that are the most, like, that is the most unique thing, or, you know, like, I was just asking, do you have anything that stands out in your mind as like, this is a very unique thing that I haven't heard before or since, or that it just never occurred to me?
It happens all the time. Like, someone, I mean, there's so many to even think about over 30 years. People who, like, I went and investigated a dog man sighting in Michigan.
Ooh.
So, so dog man is obviously an upright walking canine that people describe as kind of a werewolf. And in Michigan, someone saw one like leaning against the fence, smoking a cigarette. And as they walked,
Okay, hubba.
Very into him. What's his
With
number?
some tight jeans on.
Oh.
Wow.
you know, and then he flipped over a fence backwards and like ran off and
Dated a cheerleader.
yeah, something.
Really good basketball. Whoa.
There were some people in Michigan, it was 2018, where they saw a like 3 foot by 3 foot square floating box that looked like it was covered in hair, and it was floating through the neighborhood. And as it would get toward like cars and trees, it would pass through them as if it wasn't solid, and it just kept going down the neighborhood.
Why did it have hair?
What?
Why would it have hair? What is the purpose of the hair?
Some people described it as tinsel, but most of them said it looked hairy.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm into, and I love stuff like that. Like, sure,
Yeah.
Bigfoot is cool, but like a giant floating box for like is covered in hair is better than Bigfoot.
Have you had people be like, because I heard about this the first time with Michael and everybody at Bigfoot Collectors Club. Like people seeing Santa.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because in the paranormal community and in the occult community, we talk about these things that are called thought forms. So like
Tulpas, right? Yeah.
Tulpas, egregores, tulpas, thought forms that you can push. So many people can think about something, they can push it into reality. So there are, if you take parents out of the equation, dressing up as Santa Claus.
Yes.
The most commonly seen like supernatural creature is Santa Claus. Little kids see Santa Claus all the time. And if we're talking about thought forms, why not Santa Claus? You have millions of kids all around the world on one day imagining the same structured being. And then boom, like Santa Claus appears. And we have, footprints not left by parents, like on the roofs of houses that don't make any sense. And like parents have even told me like the cookies are gone, but we didn't eat the cookies. So, like, kids are manifesting Santa Claus.
Whoa!
I think when I, heard about Santa, a friend's mom ruined it for me. I'm going to have to put, a trigger warning on this. But I was like, I really believe that only happens for kids who don't believe, and the parents are ruining it, and he would come around if they just gave him the space. That was what I believed at 12.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that.
And if you think about the magic that we had, I kind of believe that kids are a really great kind of gateway into supernatural, because little kids talk to trees, animals, they have this, they clench their fists and make the wind blow. I really think that little kids are natural magicians. And so, the idea that they're manifesting Santa Claus is pretty awesome. I mean, as you probably, I don't know where you're both from, where you both grew up, but I'm pretty sure, I'm from Detroit. I'm pretty sure that me and my friends, in elementary school, made it snow a couple times so that we didn't have to go to school. So many kids, praying at one time, snow day, snow day, snow day. And then it would snow.
Betsy, did you do that in Colorado?
Every single day. Every single day. And then when I grew up in the mountains of Colorado, so we had snow a lot. And it got to the point where it was hey, we can all manage it. We don't need to constantly cancel school, because we'd be canceling all the time if it were.
It's the way it is in Michigan, too.
Yes,
sure.
Yeah, where it's hey, we can drive through this. You're going to be fine, kids. And okay, man.
Whereas in Louisiana, absolutely not. Shut down the whole state. We can't, even if it's a little icy, you have to stay inside, because you actually cannot drive in this. You don't know how. There is no salt truck. You can't do it.
Right.
Yeah, they just don't have the infrastructure to, because in New York they salt the streets and stuff, so there's not ice.
They're ready.
They don't have that. They don't have that in Louisiana, so they're you got to stay inside. Everyone's gonna die.
But even your that little kid magic, some of it persists into adulthood, because I don't know if either of you have pets, but I used to have I have a ghost cat now living in my house. But when I had my cat, Charlie, when he was alive, I talked to my cat all the time.
Oh, yes.
I would come home from work and I would look at him in the face and say how was your day, buddy? And then I would wait for a response.
Yes.
Well, I believe that my cats all know a significant amount of English. They just are so responsive when I do talk to them. Or even with not commands, but when I'm come here, for cats especially, to be okay, to turn around and come back to you, they have to know what I'm saying. But
right,
maybe that's not even supernatural. That's just cats being really smart too.
I think the supernatural aspect of cats, at least for my cat Charlie, was he would know when I made vet appointments for him. On the day of the vet appointment, he just could not be found. He would just hide.
Smart. Isn't that so interesting? He's I know something is up. I'm out of here. I don't want to go. Wow.
So he's your ghost cat now, you said.
Yeah.
Is he hanging around?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think, again, like if things that are living can leave ghosts, like that applies to our dogs and cats and birds and gerbils too, So,
Yes.
yeah, when it was so funny when I moved my parents in, I told my father, I was like, there's a ghost cat that lives in the house. And my dad doesn't believe in shit. And like 2 weeks later, he was washing dishes and I was sitting at the table and my dad turns around and goes, there's a fucking ghost cat in this house. And I was like, yeah, I know. I told you. I told you there's a cat in the house. He's like, it jumped on the bed. I felt it last night. And I was like,
Yeah. That's so fun. I love that. I'm just kind of like, there is a fucking ghost cat in here.
But
Okay.
this is the part that people don't like when I talk about it at my lectures, because if things that are living that die leave ghosts behind, then that means that every time you've killed a spider in your house, you didn't really kill it. It's still in the house. And now your house is just filled with ghost spiders.
Ew, crawling into your mouth at night. Ew.
They're crawling on your face right now.
Oh, no. I always try to take spiders outside. But
I do too.
Once in a while, if it's I'm sorry, sometimes I'll bash them and I feel bad. But.
Yeah, I'm not often killing bugs, but my cats love to. They are like big hunters, so I feel like they probably have a bunch of ghost spiders living inside of them.
Yes.
There's actually, too, there's an old traditional kind of magic spell, which is when you find a bug, whether it be like an ant or a spider, you're supposed to, and I know people don't like to touch bugs, but you're supposed to gingerly and very tenderly pick it up in your hand. And as you walk it outside, you tell it, I could have killed you, but I didn't. I respect your life. Tell your friends not to come back. And then you put it outside, and that is supposed to clear up any insect problems.
Wow.
That's good to know. I'm going to try. Usually I'm like, oh my God, oh shit, why are you here? Throw them out the door.
Yeah, you hold a knife to its neck and say, I could kill you so easily.
I could kill you. You tell all your friends that I could kill you.
Now get out of here.
I've done that with some of my quote unquote friends that have come over my house sometimes when it gets a little too late and I want them to go.
I could kill you right now, but I'm not going
Just
to.
so you know.
Instead, let's just get brunch in 2 weeks.
Yep. We'll make plans for brunch, but then we won't follow through.
Right.
Yep,
That's how the magic that I make works. The canceled plan.
Yes.
So you have a ghost cat. Do you have any? I'm sure you have some, even as someone who has to have part of your mind be skeptical. But what are some other paranormal experiences that you've had or that like stand out in your mind?
So the one that is most close to me right now, like in the room with me, is it was a couple of years ago now, but there was a local mall, and in one of the bigger stores in the mall, women were having really obscene things whispered in their ears, and they were feeling like they were getting groped.
Oh my God.
And they had video footage of it happening. Like there's no one near them, but you could see people reacting to it. So I went in and I investigated the mall, and I couldn't find anything. And I think it was about a week into investigation, I asked if I could climb around in the air ducts underneath the mall. And they said yes. So I climbed around.
What a thing to think of, John.
It's something you have to do if you're a paranormal investigator. You got to get down in the dirt sometime.
Yeah.
And so I climbed around down in the air ducts, and I came around this corner and I kind of shrieked because pressed up against this huge air duct was a styrofoam mannequin head. And it was surrounded by broken glass and note cards. And on the note cards, it just repeated hundreds of times. It just said, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you on the note cards. And so it had, and there were like yellow rubber gloves around it. Like someone was going down in the air ducts and having adult time with this mannequin head. Like that's the only thing I could figure out. So of course I asked if I could take it. Like, can I have this? And they said yes. So I took it, and then everything at the mall stopped. And
what?
And it's in your place right now?
It's in my office right now. Yeah.
Whoa. Has anything weird happened?
So once I had it back at my house, I did kind of like a investigation electronic voice phenomena experiment with it to see if it would say anything.
Yeah.
And the response was, you forgot something. So I went back to the mall. This is about a month later. I went back to the mall, went back into the crawl space, and then kind of dug down in the dirt, and I found an envelope. And in the envelope were all of these pictures of like, they were like cut out of catalogs. It was like women's legs, women's eyes, women's lips.
Ew.
Yeah.
Like
so
serial killer stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So I took the envelope, and I think that's what it was telling me I forgot. And it's been pretty quiet since then. Her name is Macy. That's kind of a hint as to the major store that I found her in.
Yeah. Yes, Target. Okay.
My brain is like going like is it almost like a ritualistic thing that a person is doing that is manifesting as violations of women in the mall, or is it like a ghost that is sort of like not ghost or some kind of like entity that is controlling or having influence over a person?
I think that someone was going down there and was, for lack of a better term, like releasing a lot of psychic vibes down there. And I think that whatever it was, they kind of pushed psychically into that styrofoam head.
Okay.
And then once that person was gone, like it was starting to manifest itself out. It was trying to find the experience again.
This, Betsy, you've heard me say it a million times. This is why I say that, like, when people talk about spells, I'm like, it doesn't matter what you do specifically. It is however you put the energy out there, it will happen. So, like, having to, like, buy a book of spells, I don't know that that's necessary. I think that, like, you can do things in a lot of ways, and that was a spell that person did.
Wow.
A nasty little spell.
Yeah, I mean, all the magic and witchcraft I do, like, is exactly what you were saying, Marcy. Like, it's sure, I read a lot of books on witchcraft. I know a lot of witches, but magic is natural. Like, it's something we do all of the time. Even to the point of, I was sitting at a bar years ago, and there was a guy watching a Detroit Red Wings hockey game, and he found out what I did. The bartender told him, and he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, magic is a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't work, whatever." And I looked at him, and I could tell full well, like, where I was going to go with my conversation with him. And I said, are you growing your beard out so that the Red Wings will win? And he said, yeah. And I said, that's fucking magic, dude. Like, you are growing, you're doing a spell. That's probably your lucky shirt, and you're growing your beard out. You're doing sympathetic magic. And he was like, oh, I never thought about it. So, I mean, it's ingrained in us to do magic.
Man was David Copperfield. Changed his life.
And then he walked through the bar.
You know, it's so funny. I don't even think about it, but yeah, like I yesterday did a spell without realizing it, just being like, okay, a little superstition thing that like I want to like help me symbolically, like doing something so that it'll put some good energy into this thing.
Yeah.
Actors especially do this all the time. Like the theater is nothing but a bunch of superstitious little freaks running around trying to get attention.
Yes.
Well, even I was talking to someone, I did a lecture. October is obviously everybody wants a ghost story. So I was doing a lot of lectures, but I was talking to a gentleman. He had brought his wife to my lecture. And again, he kind of didn't believe in anything. And I asked him if he had ever seen, I could tell he was watching a big screen TV in the other building, like through a window. He was not paying attention to my lecture.
Yes.
And I asked him if he had ever seen a large scale, like ceremonial magic ritual. And he said no. And I explained to him, well, large scale ceremonial rituals pretty much go like you have an elder who has a grimoire, a book of spells, who tells the initiated what to do. You have a holy piece of ground covered in chalk and markings. And then you surround the initiated with the uninitiated who sing in unison to make something happen on the holy piece of ground. And then I explained to him, like, that's the fucking football game you were just watching. You have a coach with a playbook who tells the players what to do. There's a piece of ground with chalk and numbers and lines on it. You surround it with the fans who chant and sing in unison. in the hopes they so much believe that they're a part of the game that when the team wins, they scream, "We did it," as if they thought they actually did something.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember having friends like who were very into like if their team lost or something, they personally felt like they did something wrong, where they're like, oh, it's because I got up and went to the bathroom during this time. And it's like, oh, man.
They even have like sacrificial animals, if you think about it, for a lot of them, which I hate.
The mascots?
Oh, I hate. Poor Mike the Tiger at LSU.
Well, and mascot etymology, the etymology of mascot is French. It means the witch's talisman.
Okay.
Bunch of witches, bunch of Sunday witches, going to their witchy little churches and then going to watch football games. Yeah.
Wow, that's such a cool way to. I've never thought of it like that. I love that. I'm just like, yeah, we're all doing magic. It's us putting our wants and our intentions out there. Oh man, that's cool.
I've always thought it's interesting. Like you're both comedy people, and I've always thought it's really interesting that even though I know a lot of comedians who are super atheist and don't believe in anything, it's really funny to me to watch because one of the first places that comedians go is to like supernatural stuff. They'll go to like aliens and ghosts and. With improv, people will be like, okay, I'm going to be a ghost or I'm going to time travel. Like it's always something, it goes to something supernaturally weird.
Yeah. It's fun to heighten to that.
And especially like improv, we have so many rituals and things that we will do before, especially when you're newer at it. But even like the thing that we do before every show is like, I got your back, just like touching your fellow performer's back and making sure you touch everyone's back and say, I got your back, I got your back. Like that's like a little, thing that we always do. But also, if you think about it, like Del Close was a witch, so.
Well, I was about to bring that up. Like I was going to say, wasn't like one of the like Del Close? Wasn't he really into the occult and magic?
Yes, he was.
And his skull is God. He donated his skull because he. What is the name of the Shakespearean character? The
that one jester dude in Hamlet.
Uric.
Yeah, whatever this. Yeah, that. So he actually he still has a part in on stage. So.
Wow.
Yep. Okay.
So it's all intertwined in our whole world, whether or not people believe it or not. And then you have crazy supernatural stuff that just happens all the time, so much that you don't even consider it supernatural. Like coincidences are supernatural. We just say that they're coincidences. You know what I mean?
Right.
The dictionary definition of a coincidence is seemingly unrelated events which seem to be related. Like that's a bullshit definition. It just means we don't know why they happen. And yet scientists will be like, it's just a coincidence. So the scientist is telling you, we don't know why that happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing with science is they don't know anything until all of a sudden they know something. Like they're just like, I don't know, you can't prove it. It's like, well, that doesn't mean anything. You couldn't prove this 6 months ago. Like, especially like in these times when advancements happen so quickly, it's like you guys should stop being definitive about what you don't believe because constantly you're figuring new things out.
Right.
Well, and real science is this is our best guess right now. And we're going to get a better guess later. Like a scientist that tells you this is 100%, we know for sure there's no such thing as ghosts. Like that person's probably jacking you around a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not a scientist.
No. I don't care what letters they have around their names.
Yeah.
Or if you ask like a physicist, like they're like, do you think that there's ghosts? Like they're very smart in physics, but they've never studied ghosts.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And that can be a bummer because you get people like Neil deGrasse Tyson who is like, this is why your Halloween decorations wouldn't actually work. Like they bum you out on stuff. You're trying to have fun. And then Neil deGrasse Tyson walks in and like buzz kills the whole party and starts explaining why Star Wars isn't real. And everybody's like, yeah, we fucking know Star Wars isn't real.
No, dude.
Did you run out of things to talk about? I guess you did.
Certainly did.
I came to ruin your good time. On that, great segue for a question I had, which is, are there things where you're like, this sounds more like bullshit than it does sound believable. Like when it comes to like,
Nice.
the thing that came to my mind was like mummies being animated or vampires, like those kinds of
Yeah.
things that are like very, like we hear about them as children, but then you never really hear any other stories as a grown up about like, oh, there's a vampire trying to get into my house sort of thing.
Yeah, what's interesting is doing this for as long as I've done this and watching how things have trended because of just the rise of social media and the internet and everything. Paranormal investigators, and like, it was a way to strengthen your bullshit detection. It was like mental gymnastics, like what's real, what's not, and then you can do some research and find out, and then it's fun to think about, but then also like you were learning like how things actually worked. And now it's like people see a TikTok or Twitter and they don't follow up on it and they're like, oh, it's real. And
Yeah.
that's where it becomes super problematic, because the whole point was to be able to strengthen. When I'm talking to someone who's telling me they see like a 3-foot square furry box floating through the neighborhood, obviously my bullshit detector is running. I'm looking for them, tripping up over their words and just the normal things that I would get off of a person. And I think we've lost a lot of that. But when it comes to like, I really thought when I was younger, I would fight more mummies doing this, but I've never fought a mummy or a werewolf or a vampire.
Shoot.
But also, like, because of those kind of scary tropes and ideas, like I learned about folklore and where those ideas originate from and how problematic some of them can become. Like, the fact of like the British, the whole kind of rise of mummies, just because I love mummies so much, with people being scared of mummies, it's all like colonization, right? It's like the British going into Egypt and just taking literally thousands of people out of the grave and bringing them back to England and propping them up in their living rooms as a curiosity piece. And like, then, obviously if you have a 3,000-year-old dead body propped up in your living room for people to talk about, someone's going to write a story about that mummy coming back to life from those weird ancient occult rituals that they used to do back then. And so then you get the rise of mummy stories, and it's just.
Yeah, we've talked about it before on the podcast about the IBG's Indian burial grounds that like that's like, oh, well, this curse is happening because of building on top of a burial ground. It's like, why are you blaming the people that were killed, oppressed? Like, why are you, like, it's their fault? Like, that's why this is happening, because someone cursed your land because you it feels very unfair to say like that's wwhy the bad thing is happening, because it makes the victim the bad guy in the situation.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why people like blaming the victim is like how we all became afraid of witches, right? Witches were just like smart landowning women that weren't like under the thumb of male rule. And so someone had to get their land away from them. And so they must be witches. They're not going to church. They're telling people that you can use the medicine from nature to heal themselves. You better put them to death, and that we can take her land away from her. And then here we are, 600 years later, and witches were the evil people that lived on the outskirts of the village, when really they were probably just local healers doing their shit and getting along fine.
We're in a real age right now of a resurgence of witches where, and I think it gets made fun of a lot too. And some of it is valid to make fun of, to be like, all right, bunch of white lady witches. But I do think that there's a bigger part that is like empowering, to be like, you have control. You don't like to like put the strength within yourself to create your life. I think that's a very cool thing that is, like I said, it gets a lot of eye rolls from people.
Yeah, if you look at like the suffragette movement, and like if you look at what was happening at the exact same time in the spiritualist community in the turn of the century, most psychics and mediums were women, and they were channeling, quote unquote, channeling the voices of like dead male leaders, and everyone was listening to what women were saying. Like, women could have a voice, if they were saying they were channeling the spirit of this former president. And all of a sudden, like, women had a voice and people were paying attention to them.
That makes me think of Abraham Hicks. That like Esther Hicks channeling Abraham Hicks. Like just that, like, I don't know, like the irony of her channeling this man and people being like, oh God, Abraham has so much to teach us.
Yeah. Or even the fact that like Ouija boards were a way, you know, Victorian England and turn of the century America, you know, Ouija boards were supposed to be used by a male and female, and they were supposed to be set on the lap and your knees were touched under the board. I mean, how scandalous, right?
I didn't know this was like a hot little date.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And then your fingers touched on the planchette. And you would sit alone in a dark room. And imagine this now. Usually on the male end of the board, it would start to move. It would start to rise, right?
Yes. Oh, man. We need that Ouija origin story of like just a little boner making it spell stuff.
I have never heard that. That is so funny.
Wow.
Oh, the spirit is with me. Yeah, I see that board bouncing up and down.
Yeah, dude.
But it was
so
this
funny.
way for it was like an empowerment movement. It was, you know, to break the chains of this, you know, you can't touch each other in public. You can't,
Yeah.
you know, making love was just telling someone that you were fond of them, and you know, you couldn't have any inappropriate contact with each other. So yeah, it was like an empowerment movement.
Whoa, that's so cool.
Now, a few months ago, I went to Lilydale, and I'm just curious your thoughts. I'm sure you've visited at least once
Yes.
or twice. What are your thoughts on that spiritualist community?
I think it's really cool. I think people should go. For people who don't know, it's a whole city of psychics and mediums, and every house you could get a reading from if you want to. And
Well, we talked about a lot of them are for sale now, and they're no buyers because you have to be a lot of rules to get in there.
There's a lot of rules. But I like little communities like that. There's Casadega in Florida, which is another spiritualist community.
Yes.
There's one in Whitewater, Wisconsin. But it's really cool because it was this place where, like, I like to think of psychics and mediums like people who were outside of the norm. Like they're the outsiders, right? Like I grew up a punk rock kid, and they were kind of like punk rockers. They were like, you don't have to listen to the church. You can listen to your ancestor spirits, or you can listen to this woman who's channeling your dead husband. Like, you don't have to necessarily follow this one book. And I think that was really groundbreaking at the time. It still is now if you look at society.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still like people like that are still threatening to other people, you know,
Right.
where people are still threatened by these people who are like just living life and just doing their own thing. It's so crazy.
I always find it very funny when people are religious and they say like, I don't believe in ghosts or anything paranormal because it's against you know what I believe in, or you know, like it's against the teachings of the religion that also is like based around magic and rituals. And so especially as someone who grew up Catholic, I'm like, well, it's sort of all the same thing, right? Like just saying that only a priest can do that instead of you.
Yeah, for sure. The first time I've been on both ends where I've taken like an occultist to a church for the first time, and I've taken someone from a church to an occult ritual. And it's funny because they both have the same, like, they both leave going like, that's what we do. Like they, you know, someone's speaking in a dead language, there's candles lit, there's incense, there's movements that you have to do. And you're just giant occult rituals and different names that they're giving to them. One's a Catholic rite and the other is, you know, a Solomonic rite of magic.
It's very funny. That makes me think of like secret societies and how there are, you know, there's so much talk about these secret societies, and I just had this thought of like, there's no way they're really secret because people can't keep secrets. Like everybody's talking about the secret society they're in, right?
Yeah, they're the worst secret societies ever. Yeah, when you can go online and just figure out everything that they've ever done.
Yeah, not very good at keeping secrets.
No secret societies, right?
Yeah, super bad.
No way.
Now, I'm curious, as far as like UFOs and aliens go, like, I think that's like almost like a Pandora's box that I don't often like try. I don't even get that curious about it because it's to start asking questions. It feels like there's never ending. Like there's like, yeah, I don't even know what I'm asking, Betsy. Like other than to be like, other than alien ghosts, what do you know? What have you heard or researched that would blow our minds?
Trust us, our minds get
We're
blown
so stupid,
easily.
so it'll be easy.
It's not true at all. I mean, the thing that always interests me is that like we don't obviously know what any of the supernatural experiences are. And so like when we talk about ghosts or aliens, like I don't even really know what we're talking about because, you know, like I do this thing in my lecture where I talk about what do words mean. Whenever you have a deep philosophical conversation, even though it's really silly because we're talking about ghosts and aliens and monsters, like it does like become deeply philosophical about the nature of reality. And so at the beginning of my lectures, I say, you know, how many people here when you die think you become a ghost? And everybody raises their hand. And I say, how many people here think that when you die you become an alien? And some people raise their hands. And then I say, how many people here think when you die you become a gnome? And everybody laughs.
Yep.
But the reality of the situation is like ghost, the word, it means gust, it means wind. And so my question is, do you think that when you die you just become wind? And the etymology of the word alien means a foreign one not ever of this place. That doesn't really seem to mean ghost in my brain either.
Right.
But then the etymology of the word gnome is a spirit of the earth. So the word is the silliest because we don't understand what the word means, but it's what we're thinking when I say ghost. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So like we've never
all gnomes.
Yeah, we're all gnomes. We're going to die and become gnomes.
We're going to become gnomes.
So it's like when people tell me about experiences they've had and they say it's a ghost experience, like I have to wonder, is it a ghost? Is it an extra dimensional creature? Is it an extraterrestrial ghost? Like, are they visiting somehow psychically the past and seeing echoes of the past? Like I don't know. And if there's an alien, like, is that just like a creature on this planet that has evolved in a different vibratory realm than us? And so it seems alien to us.
Yeah.
Like even Bigfoot, when I jokingly said at the kind of beginning, I was talking to a child, this is maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and she said, why are there no dinosaur ghosts? And I said, why do you think we can't catch the Loch Ness Monster, right? Like the Loch Ness Monster is just a plesiosaur ghost. And then I started thinking like, oh, well, if there are cavemen ghosts, they would look like Bigfoot. So maybe Bigfoot is just the ghost of a caveman.
Oh. Yes, like a Neanderthal or whatever, you know, like I was watching this one paranormal caught on camera and a dude caught like what looked very much like a Bigfoot, but the guy was so adamant about being like, no, it was just a hairy human and it feels like it could have been like a Neanderthal who like just happened to be surviving in these woods for thousands of and that blew my mind. I love that idea.
Yeah. The cavemen ghosts.
Because of course they're cavemen ghosts.
Because we've talked about it before that like it doesn't seem like people are seeing ghosts from thousands of years ago very often. Like you're not hearing that. You're hearing more like Victorian era. And I think someone has like a psychic sometimes said like, oh, after about 300 years or so, that's kind of like the sweet spot for how long a ghost will stick around. But it's like, who says, I guess, other than the psychic, you know?
I think sometimes though with the ghosts that people see, like, I don't know how much sense this makes, but like I think in our brain we have default templates for ghosts. And the ghost like looks around in your brain and says, well, that's kind of what I look like. And then they like flip a switch and then it looks like a Victorian lady. Or like, that's what I want to look like. Or maybe they're even like, you have a default male silhouette figure and they flip that switch and people are like, oh, it's a shadow person.
Yes.
Yep.
Because all
Right?
shadow people always describe very similarly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Or a little hat man, like, oh, I'll just flip the hat man switch in their head and then they'll see it.
And we've talked about that before, that like all the things we see, like that's what we process them to look like. You know, like
Right.
like that's just the cones and rods in our eyes saying like, this is the information I'm getting, so this is what you imagine it to look like. But it's like, that doesn't necessarily make it all real.
Right. And like to take that visualization process a step further, like everything that you see outside of you, like you've never really seen anything outside of you because the image is in your brain. And then your brain is telling you it's outside of you. But everything you've ever seen has been in your brain, like in your head. Yes. So, I mean, that's just an amazing concept to think that like when you look at the sky at night, your mind is as large as the sky. Because the sky is in your head. And then like to really blow that idea out of my head, and I have trouble thinking about this too, everything I've ever seen is in my head. And then I look in the mirror at myself and I can see the thing that's seeing the thing, but I'm not seeing it outside of myself. I'm seeing the thing outside, inside.
Whoa. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is
Brain breaking.
That's like, oh no, I better not think about this when I'm trying to go to sleep.
I think that's why they tell people to not look in mirrors when they're on drugs. Like when you've taken some like acid or LSD and they're like, do not look in the mirror. I think it just like your brain feedback and you just go a little insane.
Yes.
Yeah, too much.
I think about this every time. I'm like, it's so weird that like I kind of only see myself as the mirror, you know, like the opposite way that I am. Oh, it's so weird. Oh,
yeah. There's a friend of mine who's a neurobiologist did a huge study about, they would do casts of people's faces for masks.
Yeah.
And that's like the only time that you will ever actually see what you look like to other people, because you've only ever seen yourself in 2 dimensions. Right. You've only seen yourself in a flat surface or a picture. But everybody else sees you in a completely different way because they're looking at you in 3 dimensions. So they see all the light and shape and shadow.
Whoa.
And even like the idea, so when photography was first developed, you had to explain to people what they were looking at. They didn't see, like if you took a picture of buildings, everybody was used to, for as long as humanity existed, seeing things in motion with movement and moving light and shape and shadow.
Yes.
You had to explain to people, that's the building across the street, that's the street. And then they could start to see what was in the photograph. But it was like a long period of time when people couldn't see photographs.
Whoa.
It is. This is just occurring to me right now that we've come to a point in society where we're always looking at what's already happened, and it's a real like snake eating its tail. Like it no wonder why we all have so many like anxieties, and like we aren't a forward thinking society in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
or
the other
present
thing,
even. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I meant to excuse me, I meant to mention this when you were talking about like burial mounds. In my lectures, I talk about the fact that like, so an approximate number of deaths that have occurred, human deaths on the planet since there have been Homo sapiens, is about 100 billion deaths have happened on this planet. So if you take, let's say half of them didn't become ghosts, but half did. So I'm getting rid of half right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right? So 50 billion ghosts on the planet right now. Now, human beings have only inhabited environmentally friendly areas since there have been humans. So if you take habitable land mass and you divide it into 50 billion ghosts, that comes up to 11 ghosts per acre. So,
oh no. Oh my God.
Like if any place is haunted, every place is haunted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So aside from the spider ghosts in your house, you probably have two or three
There's
people
no
hanging
space.
around.
It's so claustrophobic in here now. So it's very.
Oh no.
I live. I have like a house, and then there's a driveway, and then across the driveway is another house where we would be a duplex, but we're not connected essentially on this like little land. But she over there, that's where the ghosts are. I don't know why, but because I've had a few neighbors now, and like it's always over there, and I'm like, I don't know what it is that it goes there and it's not here for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. It's interesting. You never feel anything weird at your
I've
place?
seen someone pass through once. Like I saw in my mirror, I saw like a guy standing behind. I like couldn't sleep, and I woke up and there was like a guy behind me, and I like whipped around, and then he wasn't there, and I was like, "Huh, how about that?" But I knew like I was like, "Oh, he's not here. I don't know how to say that I knew, but I knew he was just passing through."
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I have always told people like I'm not going to if I'm no longer tethered to my biology. If I'm still me, but I'm like I can go invisible and float through walls and go anywhere I want to. Like I'm not going to stick around in the same house for 100 years.
No way.
Yeah, I'm going to go and visit all the places I always wanted to visit.
Yes.
Yeah, even if it's off Earth. Like if I'm not tethered to gravity, like I'm going to go and sit in the heart of the sun and explore the cosmos. I'm not going to whisper into people's tape recorders.
I'll do that every now and then, but then go do the fun stuff.
Do you think that you're encountering the most boring ghosts than when people do go ghost hunting here? It's like the most simple, basic, boring ghost you could encounter.
I think sometimes, yes. I also think that a lot of paranormal investigators are kind of creating the way that we were talking about tulpas and egregores. They're creating ghosts in the location. Like a legend builds up around a building that there's a little girl ghost in there, and then thousands of people over decades go there looking for the little girl, and they put that intention out into the air, and then eventually there's a little girl there, and she wasn't really there, but we made her there, and she always gives the right answers. She always uses the name that we ask for, So I think a lot of cases where we're constructing ghosts in these locations.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now, we're just coming out of October, but let's still be scary and say, have you had any experiences that have truly been unnerving, scary, or you felt unsafe?
Supernaturally or normally?
Well,
let's do supernatural.
Supernatural first, then we'll go to how scary humans are. Like we say, you always hope it's a ghost. You'd be lucky it's a ghost, not a human.
I wasn't going to go human, but I mean, over 30 years, I've fallen into 3 graves. So like that's one of those things I was going to put on there.
Ew, no, that sounds terrible.
The first time you fall into a grave, you're like, I've made bad life choices. Like things are not going well, but at least this will never happen again. And then like the second time you're like, there's no way.
It's like being struck by lightning that once you get struck, you're more likely to get struck again. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh my God.
But in the one that I always will come back to is, so in 1999, a friend of mine who worked for the Archdiocese of Detroit had asked if I could be contacted, and I said yes. So the Vatican had agreed to do an exorcism in Michigan, and they were working with the Archdiocese of Detroit. And when the Holy See does an exorcism, there has to be a person in the room who's a non-Catholic, and that person is called a disinterested third party.
Whoa.
And so you go there to make sure there's no like inappropriate conduct or anything like that.
Okay.
So they asked me if I would be the disinterested third party and sit in on exorcism. So I sat in on a Catholic Holy See sanctioned exorcism.
Oh,
because my other question was going to be, what do you think about demons? So can you tell us about that experience, or is it like a therapist and you can't disclose the
So there are some things I can't talk about. They make you sign like a non-disclosure agreement. And I mean, we've all signed them, and I will break non-disclosure agreements with networks and television shows. Some of the stuff, like the Vatican though is a different level. Like
Yeah, that's spooky.
I
Have,
said
deep pockets.
I said something once about the exorcism. I was being interviewed for like a national news show just about ghosts, and I kind of mentioned the exorcism, and I got an email from the Vatican saying like you're not supposed to talk about that.
Whoa.
But so now I know what I can and can't talk about.
Okay.
So yeah, there was like a 4-month process to like leading up to the client. I had to go to a doctor and talk to a therapist and talk to a psychologist and make sure that I was okay to be in the situation. Wow. And the whole time the Vatican is calling and saying like this probably isn't going to happen because they're doing the same thing with the client. Like the client is going to psychologists and drug treatment and like all of this stuff is happening. And then one day I got a phone call and they're like, okay, it's happening. And then a car picks me up and drives me to northern Michigan. And so the client is there's a neutral house that they're in. They specially like pick the room so that it doesn't have windows. It has one door in. It usually has a bathroom. They take the door and the bathroom off its hinges. A mattress where the client is mostly sleeping but is restrained. And so the disinterested third party, me, an assisting priest, and a priest. And once it starts, you can't leave. We were there in that room for about 32 hours while it went on. And it was crazy. I mean, it's not like the Exorcist movie, obviously, but there are insane body contortions and multiple languages being spoke by the client and weird manifestations on the client's skin and face, like throughout the entire thing. And the thing that leading up to it, that 4-month process of kind of getting ready to go, they kept telling me like, here's some things like you don't I don't engage with the client. I'm simply there to watch. The client will want to engage with you to get you to stop the exorcism. So don't. And I grew up, again, like a lower middle class punk kid. So you're not going to shock me. Like if he screams fuck or cocksucker or whatever, like that's a big deal, right?
He might scream fuck. I'm out of here. I couldn't handle it.
It was too horrible. But so like it was a long time in. It was about 20 hours in. The client woke up and looked directly at me. And I was like, oh, it's going to call me names now. Like this is where it's going to come for me. And very calmly, with this intense gaze, the client looked at me and said, do you remember when your mother bought you that Spider-Man coloring book when you were 7 years old and you threw it in your mother's face? That broke her heart and she thinks about it all the time.
Oh my God. I got chills.
What?
And I was fucked up. Like, because
oh my God.
Somehow this person had pulled out of the depths of my heart and soul something that I do remember that I never talk about, that I still feel guilt about. Like even as a 51-year-old man, I remember being in the bowling alley and throwing that coloring book in my mom's face. Like, and that's the thing that they pulled. Like I had to go in the bathroom and like the bathroom is where you got away from the situation if you need to get away from the situation.
But I'm sure that's because it's the first time you felt hate or like an intense like that was like or a big manifestation of hate in your life, right?
It was a big manifestation of like anger, and I think even as a kid I picked up guilt like doing that because my mom even as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And over the years that hate has obviously grown as you keep a secret like that inside of yourself. Like it manifests into feeling bad about it. And it was crazy. And then
that is so spooky.
But because I think that is like what I was going to ask about, like, what do you feel about like demons and stuff? But like it does add like a lot of that one story adds so much validity to like they are seeking to hurt. Like they're like that was like. It's not just an entity that exists and is trying to like manifest through a person. Like that is truly to just cause emotional distress.
Yeah, for sure. And so, And then, so the other thing that they had to prepare me for was they said, so near the end, when the exorcism is going to end, you'll know it because you'll know that you're going to die within the next 5 or 6 seconds. He's like, everybody in the room will feel that. and just push through it, which is always really funny. Like, you know, you're going to die, just push through it.
How do you push through that? Oh,
so like, like at like 32 or 33 hours in, there was this moment the client was sleeping and then kind of startled awake and was very violent. And the priest, the assisting priest, and I like kind of went silent. And there was this wave like of anxiety of just like your heart starts pounding and you start getting tunnel vision and you know you're going to die. And then like 5 seconds later, the client falls back asleep and the three of us like start laughing and it was over.
Wow.
This is incredible. Like, it just validates. So, like, for them to just be like, "Hey, heads up about this, 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 and this," and for it all to happen. This is really freaking me out because I've always been a little like, I don't know about it, man, and now I'm like, oh no. I do have to be afraid of the devil.
But, you know, even to this day, like, I wonder to myself, like, I am not a big evil person. Like, I really think that we have trouble divining the motivations of humans that sit across from us in a physical body. So, like, trying to divine the motivations of a non-physical entity that we can't see and experience. Like, I often think, like, is it just something that was confused? Is it something that just maybe it didn't want to be here? And so it was, I've met a lot of kids. I was a school bus driver for a little while. I've met a lot of little kids who have like punched me in the back of the head and pulled my hair and broken bottles and stuff. And they weren't evil, but if I couldn't have seen them, if my hair was just being pulled and a bottle was being broken and I was feeling punched in the side of the face, I would have been like, there's something evil here with me.
Yeah.
Whoa. You're so good at like breaking everything down in such a way.
You should do this for a living.
Yeah, you should do this for, I don't know, 30 years or something. Wow.
So yeah, but it's obviously a super intense experience. And I get a little letter from the Vatican that says, thanks for helping us. Like, it doesn't say I helped with an exorcism, but they sent me a nice little letter saying,
thanks for helping with you know what.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Now, on the topic, do you have any like tips and tricks for not getting possessed? Like, do they think they understand why this happens to certain people, or is it not the person, it's just the circumstance?
So in the case, when we had lots of talks about it, and then there's like this weird, after the exorcism's over, you have like a breakout session where you like sit around and the three of us talk and there's counselors there and stuff.
I'm sure it's traumatic. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the one thing that they really, I had never really thought about it before, but they were saying like, you have to actively work to be possessed. Like you could spend your whole life saying like, I wish a devil was in my soul, but like, I don't mean it. So it's not going to happen. And I could even mean it once and it's still not going to happen. Like I have to live my life in a way that like this entity would be like, I'm going to love living in that body. Like that body is already going through the motions. I could really have some fun in there. So
whoa.
But that makes me, because I know that The Exorcist is based on like a little boy, right, who was possessed.
Yeah.
But in that case, is it the same sort of thing, or was it parents?
So that's a big question with like Roland Doe, with the boy that The Exorcism is based on and stuff. Like what was happening in the home, right, with the family that would allow this to happen. And with a lot of even like poltergeist manifestations, like it manifests around children. And usually like prepubescent teens is when it really starts to hit. Like you'll get a lot of poltergeist activity. Yeah. And so I wonder too, like if that boy probably wasn't possessed, but just like manifesting rage throughout the house by, you know, telekinesis, things flying off shelves and breaking. And at the time you're like, well, it must be the devil. Let's call a priest in, right? And so they do what they do, and then history goes by and it becomes he was possessed by the devil.
I tell you, now that you're saying that, it makes me think that if a child were in danger in their own home, that could manifest through them as a safety mechanism.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, or if there are like familial, like family spirits around the child that are protecting it.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like if it was grandma or grandpa trying to help.
Have such chills about this. Oh, because you do hear about poltergeist activity, or like I've heard before, like demon possession around when there's abuse, alcoholism, like sort of like, already bad stuff going on. It's like, well, maybe that could be part of it, that it is like a wake up call or a protection, or, just disrupted spirits, I guess.
Yeah, something, I mean, and again, like I said, like determining the motivations, like if you look at it from what you're talking about, Marcy, like, yeah, it's not a bad thing at all. It's something that, especially back in the day when we didn't have kind of an openness of talking. I mean, obviously there's still a closeness about talking about abuse and stuff that happens in a family. But back in the day, like how else were you going to be protected if your protectors weren't protecting you?
Yeah.
And it's almost like the spirit world says, well, we're going to step in.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
man. Wow.
I hate to jump around, but you did mention monsters earlier, and I'm curious as to like what you define a monster as, and like what evidence you've come across of them, or is it like just another way that people name a ghost or spirit, or
kind of the same thing, but like with monsters, I'm usually talking about like cryptids like Mothman and Bigfoot and Dogman and the Jersey Devil and like those weird creatures that seem to inhabit the darker sides of everything. But,
and they're so regional, by the way. So regional.
Yeah. It's funny that like, if you go to, I was just in Omaha and they have like a giant, like 9-foot beaver that gets seen out there. Like I consider that, yeah.
Cute, but scary, but cute.
Scary, but cute. I would like to see a 9-foot beaver, but
I would love to. Just using a light post as like a toothpick. Like, yeah, do it. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it's basically cryptids. It's basically like those type of monsters that I talk about. But again, I think that monsters are misunderstood too. I think that again, it's kind of the outsider. I think Bigfoot is probably trying to stay away from us if Bigfoot is a real thing. I think it's strange.
That's what it feels like for sure. Where it's like they don't want to be. They're having fun in the woods. Let's let them do their thing.
Yeah, and if Bigfoot is just a big like primate. So like the very famous Patterson-Gimlin footage of Bigfoot crossing the river and turns and looks over its shoulder.
Yes.
Like if it is a primate, so that specific Bigfoot could still be alive because primates have extended lifespans like we do, right? Yes. So that was only in the 60s. If that was her crossing the river, that Bigfoot we usually assume is female because it looks like she has breasts if you look at the Patterson-Gimlin photo. But yeah, like she would only be, in her 60s maybe. So she could still be, that literal Bigfoot could still be walking around.
Wow.
Cool.
And was I talking about it with you, Betsy, that there's like, we always believe there's no jaguars in the United States, but there's one like in the Southwest that they've seen her a couple times, and it's like, look, if we don't know that there was a jaguar here, and then all of a sudden there's a jaguar here, and people have seen her, they then what's to say that there aren't so many things like that?
Right.
The first the first European to see a gorilla was in 1870.
Whoa, yeah.
The first gorilla that came to the United States at the Bronx Zoo in New York was in 1910. Wow. So like people have only known about gorillas for like less than 150 years.
Yes.
That's so wild to think about.
I remember my mom told me like about the first time she had a taco. And that blew my like when I was a kid because I love and she was like, oh, I didn't know what a taco was until I was like in my 20s, and I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I was just watching an episode of Columbo, which I think is like 1975 or 76, and people are freaking out because they have sushi and like no one knows what sushi is.
Yes.
And it's like 1975.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, coming from Louisiana, I remember the first time I had it. It was definitely like in the early 2000s, so it wasn't.
Yeah, like our knowledge is very regional and very bubbleized. I mean, I remember when Chinese food all of a sudden became Thai food. Like, I remember that happening too. Like, all of a sudden, like, oh, now we're going to have Thai food instead of Chinese food.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Common.
And it is just like, then why? Of course, there's shit we have never seen.
Right.
I mean, the ocean, of course.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't even get started on the ocean.
But even like the Amazon, just forests are big and scary, and like you have to know how to survive in them, and humans cannot most of the time.
Oh, this is such a dumb analogy, but not even an analogy, but like it's so dry in California, but when it rains, every now and then you'll see a snail, and you're like, where? How? It never.
And worms.
Huh? Worms.
And worms.
But
We're
like,
like, where
were you?
come from?
How did you survive? It hasn't rained in so long. What were you doing?
Yeah, so if you talk to like primatologists that study Bigfoot, like Jeff Meldrum is one. He's a professor in Idaho. But he will tell you, like, worldwide, there might be, for there to be a physical Bigfoot and for it to be viable and continue to exist, there only needs to be, like, 20,000 of them. And so, like, in Michigan, where I'm at right now, we have 6 million deer in Michigan, right? And sometimes during deer season, like, my father's friends won't see a deer. There's 6 fucking million of them in Michigan.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't see a deer for the entire year. And then if there's 20,000 Bigfoot in the whole world and they're trying to stay away from us.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because these forests are so, because now I'm thinking like, yeah, they're probably in like Siberia and stuff, which is just so gigantic and so like,
or
humans aren't wanting to go in there.
Or if they have slightly better hearing than us, they're just staying away from us.
Which they probably do.
Yeah.
They've adapted to be like, let's get away from these weirdos.
Yeah. I mean, dogs can hear 2.7 miles away. Cats are a little better at 3 miles. So like they live in a different world than we do. If they can hear like a mile away or 2 miles away. So like with bears, when we don't know where the majority still, all of us really smart humans, we still don't know where the majority of bears hibernate because they use these things called intergenerational dens, which means that they've been safe in them for thousands of years. And we don't know where the bears sleep still. Like we know some of them are in
we
caves.
Would ruin it for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. So if Bigfoot is using like an intergenerational den, if it's using the caving system underneath forests, like we're never going to find Bigfoot.
Yep.
Oh God, I want to talk to you forever. We
gotta hear about the Conjuring. Wait.
Oh yes.
No, you go first.
No.
You go first.
I was just going to ask about fairies in Iceland.
Hey, let's hear about fairies in Iceland real quick.
I think fairies are all over the place. I think that fairies and elves and gnomes are everywhere. I think that like I have even like on my back porch, I know it gets eaten by the possum, but like there's a traditional lore of leaving like a bowl of oatmeal outside for your house fairy. So like out on my back deck, there's a little bowl of oatmeal for the house fairy to keep him happy and not wreck my house. But yeah, I mean, in Iceland, they build roads around where they think an elf is living. Like, well, we can't move. We can't have the road there because that stone is an elf house. So they'll build the whole road around it. There's a council in Iceland like that they go to when they're doing new construction who tells them like if they're going to interfere with the elves.
What a great job.
Wow. Yeah. Oh,
The best.
my goodness. Oh, just the best. I'm on the Elf Council in Iceland.
It's an elected official.
Yes,
The
yeah.
elves elected me, so
We're
okay.
like, oh, I want to be a senator. I want to be a congressman. In Iceland, they're like, I want to be on the Elf Council.
Yes, please.
Okay, so now Conjuring House.
Oh, yes. Conjuring House on Halloween. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so my friend her name's Andrea Perrin. She's one of the little girls that the movie
Yes.
is based on.
Yes.
So for Halloween, she was going back to the original house that she grew up in, where the Conjuring movies were based off of, and her experiences of her and her family. And she was going to show the movie in the house. And so my friend Jessica and I, the co-host of my podcast, we secretly just booked a flight and flew there.
Yes.
And then showed up on the night that she was doing it. And we got to watch The Conjuring in the Conjuring house with Andrea, one of the daughters. Yeah, it was
That is-
intensely awesome.
That's incredible. The house looks so scary. The original house,
Yes.
the movie one looks nasty, but I saw a picture of the house, and I was like, good God.
Yeah, it was built in 1701 or something like that.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
What did it
it's
feel like to
spooky
you?
looking.
It felt fine. There was a couple of weird things that happened. I was in a room talking to some people, and the doors have these old-timey latches on them.
Yeah.
And you have to physically pull the latch up to get the door to open. And
Yes.
while I was talking to them, that latch popped open and then the door opened up.
Oh.
So that was a little freaky. And there were some weird taps and knocks that happened where they kind of shouldn't have. But it's just so weird to even be on the property and everybody's watching the movie. The really fun part is that Andrea just sits and calls bullshit on what the movie made up.
Yes.
So, but it was
I
fun.
bet it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot for sure. I mean,
Bullshit. That's not what my mom looked like.
yeah,
no.
for sure.
And
Yeah,
the-
I mean,
Yeah, the writer's like, yeah, I'm pretty creative, so
and they make those weird changes too, where it's in the movie, I think Andrea's father is a truck driver, but
Yes.
in real life, he was just a traveling salesman. And it's those movie choices where it's why did you change that simple
Because it still
fact?
helps him not be there.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it still helps him not be on the property so he can be like, hey, you're being a little weird, That is strange.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was a technicality or something.
Oh, probably. Yeah. It's the other thing,
something.
I guess in the movie, they portray Andrea's father as being really good friends with Ed Warren.
Yeah.
And her father actually hated Ed Warren, but
I
that
was
didn't
gonna-
play well in the movie.
they were probably we just can't add another conflict. We already have the whole
We have
kids
ghosts.
getting
We already have Bathsheba. We gotta,
we gotta-
chill out.
yeah. A note from the studio is
All of the Conjuring movies, they really I think, fluffed up the Warrens. I mean, they absolutely did. That scene in the second one where he's singing Elvis
Oh my
to
God.
the kids, I was just like, no, this is dumb.
I had the opportunity to meet Ed and Lorraine a couple times back in the
Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s. And when I was watching that scene of him playing Elvis, I was like, what is fucking going on with this movie? This is the
Right.
weirdest thing in the world. But
It was so
the
weird.
Warrens are slightly problematic. So, you know,
that's the
and when I say
vibe
when I say slightly, I mean they're very problematic.
yes, that's sort of the thinking. God
That's
bless,
what,
yeah, the
I've been
actors,
learning
but
more and more of okay.
They
Yeah.
seem to be exploitative, right?
Very exploitative. I don't know if you guys have ever dug into their housekeeper, quote unquote, that lived with them. They had a young girl that lived with them.
No.
And there's some scandal around and behind that. And
Oh,
Something for Googling later.
yes,
Yes.
for sure. But yeah, and using, original First Nations and Native American people, that trope of that being scary. And Lorraine was very Catholic, so everything was very demonic and everything was needed to be saved by Jesus. If you were a hippie, like, she wasn't into your free love lifestyle. And, looking back on it, some of their findings were pretty problematic. Plus, they like to drink a lot of wine when they investigate.
I mean, they gotta have spirits for the spirits, right?
Honestly, I hope the fourth Conjuring is just them like having a hangover. Not like it's actually just Conjuring for the Hangover movie. Like, what did we do last night, Ed?
It's just Ed super drunk painting pictures. He was a painter, so
I just learned that he like, if they heard that like a house was haunted, he would paint the house, knock on the door, and be like, I painted a picture of your house. Do you like want it? And also, is your house haunted?
So it's pretty close. So he was a failed painter, and nobody wanted his paintings. So he would paint the house. Then he would go up to the front door with Lorraine. And he would say, we're the Warrens. We investigate paranormal phenomena. My wife says your house is haunted, so I paint haunted houses. Do you want this painting of your haunted house? Also, we can investigate it for you. And then people would buy his paintings, and they'd investigate the house.
Wow.
The grift never ends.
The grift never ends.
Yeah, I mean, you got to earn that money somehow.
Right?
I truly could talk to you for hours.
I know, I could too.
I don't. Do you have time to listen to one of our listener stories?
Sure, of course.
All right, I'm going to play one then.
Hello, my name's Sam. I sent in another thing to you guys, and then I was like driving today, and I remembered like this memory that got unlocked. So, anyway, my husband and I listen to your guys' podcast like all the time, and he always is like, let's listen to the podcast with the lady with that wild voice. I love her. So I just wanted to tell you that you're the lady with the wild voice. Anyway, so I was thinking about this time. I was like 4 years old or so, and I mean, I've always kind of like seen ghosts or whatever, and my mom, like she was aware of it. Anyway, we were at, I'm assuming it was Nordstrom, because that's like, we lived there basically. My mom was at a cosmetics counter that just happened to be next to an escalator, and I was like bored. I'm like looking around. I'm like not trying to talk to a stranger about mascara or whatever, and I start hearing somebody say my name. So my mom used to call me Sammy. So all of a sudden I hear Sammy, Sammy, Sammy. And I'm like, the fuck is going on? And I like looked up at the top of the escalator, and there's a woman standing at the top of the escalator, and she's wearing this like yellow jacket, and she has this big like 80s hair, which this was in like the 90s. So at the time I didn't think about it, but now I'm like, dang, she was hella dead. But she's standing at the top of the escalator, and she's going, be careful, Sammy. And I'm like, Mom, who's that lady? Do you know that lady? And my mom looks up, and she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, the lady who's talking to me, she's right there. And my mom's like, there's nobody there. What are you talking about? And the cosmetics girl's like looking, and she's looking like scared, right? She's real freaked out. And I was like, dude, there's a woman standing at the top of the stairs, and she's literally saying my name. What do you mean? What am I talking about? And my mom was just like, no, nobody's there. So I'm just like standing there being 4, and like there's just a lady talking to me, and I'm just out here like, dude, how am I the only one who's seeing her? And she just keeps talking to me. She's just going, Sammy, Sammy, be careful, Sammy. Don't touch the escalator, Sammy. Be careful, Sammy. And she's just saying that over and over again. And I'm like, dude, come on, right? And it was one of those things that like stuck with me, but it was just like sitting in the back of my brain somewhere. And then it like boop, unlocked one day. And I realized that this woman, obviously, like I said, she was wearing weird clothes for the era, but also she was literally standing at the top of the escalator, the part that was moving, but she was not moving. So this ghost was just like chilling at a mall, knew my name, and was standing at the top of an escalator, not moving on a moving piece. And I asked my mom about it, like, when I got a little bit older, and was like, something was weird there, because I hadn't figured out yet that it wasn't like a person. I was just like, dude, why did you like mess with me, right? And she was like, I knew that you had seen ghosts and you saw them all the time, and you would just tell me every time you saw them, like, hey mommy, I see your friend here. And my mom would just say, okay, well, just let them be or whatever. But because there was that like cosmetics lady, she didn't want to be like, oh yeah, that's a ghosty, you know, or like make it seem weird. So she just kind of was like, no, there's nothing there. But she was like, yeah, I mean, it was definitely a ghost. You said she was saying your name and everything. So yeah, it was like real creepy, and it was just like stuck in my brain, and now it came out, and I wanted to show it to you guys, or share it. I didn't show it to you, but anyway, that's all. And I have like a million more stories, because I've had like a ton of like ghost experiences or whatever, so maybe one day I'll like just send you a butt ton of them. But anyway, that's all. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, a butt ton.
A butt ton. Whoa.
Little kids, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The thing that interests me is, so sometimes when you have these kind of alerting spirits, like that one was saying, like, be careful, be careful. It's almost as if, like, in my brain, I like I was talking earlier, like if I'm not biologically locked in my body, like I'm going to go anywhere. But if I'm not biologically locked in my body, like that also means I can go backward and forward in time, right? So like, I wonder if there was a different kind of timeline where she did get on the escalator and something happened.
Right.
And so like that ghost had to pop backwards and like make sure that she didn't go on the escalator, and was like acting as a warning spirit because it already knew a possible future.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I hate even.
Because it did feel like, like a grandma or someone being like, yeah, something bad's going to happen.
So to that, I mean, not to on that type of experience. So like I had a client once, and she went to her grandmother. Her grandmother passed away. She went to her grandmother's house to make sure that it was all cleaned up and locked up and perfect. It was like her final walkthrough. And she went through this kind of arched foyer, and she walked into the living room, and she saw two little girls and an old woman, and she screamed and they disappeared. So she called her mom, and she was like, Grandma's house is haunted. And her mom was like, you're crazy. And she called her aunt, and she was like, Grandma's house is haunted. And her aunt was like, you're crazy. And she thought she was crazy for a couple days. And then her aunt called her back about 3 or 4 days later and was like, I don't think Grandma's house is haunted. But I will tell you that when your mom and I were little girls, we were with Grandma in the living room, and this woman walked through the foyer and like screamed at us and then disappeared. So my client in the present was the ghost in the past. And
that's so cool.
That's like how fucking weird this stuff gets.
Yeah.
Dude.
We've had just the one story like that where someone screamed in their kitchen, and then whatever it was disappeared. They're like, I think I was the ghost, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. That is incredible.
I love it. Like I said, the weirder it gets, the more I want it.
Yes.
100%.
And it's wild because, like, I haven't thought about it. Like, I haven't thought about it in that way one bit, and it's really fun to just be like, wait, but it could be this, or this. Like, oh, it's really fun.
So, like, if you read old diaries and journals that people kept in the turn of the century, like if you go to an allegedly haunted house, usually people have diaries and journals about the ghosts that they've seen. And they describe the ghosts as like, we saw this shadow in the night and we saw these weird lights and it was trying to talk to us. Like, and then we go 100 years later, we go in and we investigate that place. But when we investigate that place, we're walking around in the dark. We're holding little weird lights in our hands and we're saying things like, is there someone here who can talk to me? Can you talk to me?
Yes.
Like, are they seeing us in the future investigating their location?
Oh my God. What if we found a diary, Marcy, of like these two ladies, one with a pretty wild voice and the other one with a nice voice, kept just screaming and laughing a bunch. We're haunted.
They seem pretty drunk. Oh man, God! Like I said, we could talk to you for hours.
This has been so fun.
I love it.
But I guess we'll have to wrap up. I hate it. But can you tell people where they can find you and your podcast or your lectures? Everything.
Yeah. So my website is weirdlectures.com. My podcast is called What's Up Weirdo. And all of my social media is John E.L. Tenney, like all the Instagram and Twitters and stuff. But I tell people, if you type my last name, Tenney, and weirdo into Google, just follow it wherever it goes.
that's you're on the right path. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on. This was just amazing and fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. It was super fun.
The best.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for listening to A Funny Feeling.
If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to share, please send us a voice memo or you can email us just a letter at funnyfeelingpod@gmail.com. I'm Marcy.
I'm Betsy. And don't shit your pants.
That was a HeadGum podcast.